Uh, Thank you so much, Nalini, for that beautiful introduction. And thank you everyone for coming. I'm so excited to share with you today a little bit. My name is Abbie Harper. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but actually yesterday, as I was preparing for this, I realized that yesterday was my 15-year anniversary of living in New York. I guess I'm officially a New Yorker now, I think. Anyway, being in New York, I have worked a million jobs as a freelance person. I'm a comedian, I'm a writer, I'm a nanny, I'm a nutrition consultant. And another thing on that list is that I am a poll worker and have been for the last 5 years. And which is why I'm here today to talk about showing up for democracy. Or showing up to be heard, participating in democracy. Because what better way to participate in democracy than to vote? I think we have an election coming up, everyone, in 18 days. I am so excited personally to cast my vote to get Donald Trump out of the White House as the result of his presidency and the many injustices that have occurred in his time in the White House. I don't think I'm alone here. I think a lot of us, I think this group is really a result in a lot of us feeling called to speak up a little more loudly and to show up more fully. So, of course, showing up to vote is essential. We remember what happened in 2016. 100 million people didn't show up to vote. They would have won the election, did not vote. So, we have to remember that hindsight has literally become 2020, and it's become painfully clear that when we don't show up, our interests are not accurately represented by our elected officials. So voting is very literally what makes a democracy, and you can bet our current president knows that, which is why he and his GOP cronies are trying to make it so confusing and difficult and mired in suspicion the whole voting process. If our voices didn't matter, this wouldn't be happening. So never ever think that your vote doesn't matter. It does, or no one would be trying to stop you from voting. It's so vital to vote. But I'd say equally important is to have an election facilitated in a way that empowers as many people to vote as possible. And that's where, we can't solve the postal service crisis. We can't solve gerrymandering right now. We can't solve voter suppression. We can show up to be poll workers, and we need to. Before COVID-19, there was already a shortage of poll workers, and that has actually been quite exacerbated due to many poll workers or elderly people or retired, and they are more at risk for COVID. So they really, really, really need poll workers to come to work. I would like to take a moment to dispel that being a poll worker is a volunteer position. You make money. There's paid training, and you get paid to work a day at the polls too. It's minimum wage, but we'll take what we can get. We're not in it for the money anyway. It is a nice added bonus. Logistically about the job, and I will stay around to answer any questions you may have about this. Being a poll worker is very, very easy. There's really only 2 jobs you can do. And if you've been to a polling place and voted, you know the 2. Basically, it is the person who takes your information, you sign in, they give you the ballot, the person on the table, or there's the person at the scanner who helps you scan your ballot. It's so easy, and poll workers are encouraged to have their poll worker training manuals with them. So it really is if you're it's gonna be intimidating, it's gonna be scary, it's so easy on a logistic level. And they'll tell you this too, in a voter training class, the most important thing is that the voter has a great experience. That's it. You just go in and be a person and make sure the voters has a great experience. That's how easy it is to be a poll worker. If you're sick and tired of politics, being a poll worker is great, actually, because you can't talk about politics at all in there. In fact, I would say that inside a polling place might be the last real American, like, nonpartisan activity taking place. Because at the polls, it's not really about who you're there for. It's that you're there for you. You are there to show up and vote for your best interests to be represented in the government. And for poll workers, I think it's about both being a steward of and a staunch defender of democracy when you show up. For example, when justice-seeking folks like us show up to work at a polling place, you can be sure at the end of the night there's not going to be like a random box of ballots going somewhere. No, we're there. We're watching. We're paying attention. We can be, you know, if a voter is being treated with disrespect, we're there to be like, no. So it's really very empowering to make sure that, like, nothing's going to go on while you're there and you're going to help people. I will say, on a personal note, helping people vote for the first time is a really, really cool experience. Just seeing everyone be very excited to cast their vote. It's something that I see and reminds me, like, oh yeah, this is really, really, really vital. And of course, for me, as is with most things I do, I have a personal connection to poll working. My mom and my grandmother were both poll workers before me in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. And the reason that we are is because we're feminists. And, you know, we're women. We're a marginalized community in the United States. And this has always been something I've known in my family. I can remember learning just the anger when I learned that women couldn't vote until 1920 and that Black women couldn't vote until 1965. Like, this is not ancient history. And while this is only one tenet of injustice in the United States, it's the personal one for me. And I feel like not showing up to democracy is to be complicit in my own oppression and to be complicit in the oppression, of others, which is not acceptable. As Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, when you're casting a vote, you're casting an important decision. And she said, women belong in all places decisions are being made. So I think being in a polling place and being like, yes, I'm a woman in a polling place. Are you not voting that way? Deal with it. I am here. That's pretty cool. To just be a part of the process. And it makes the work very vital for me and gives it a purpose, which I think is really important to feel in a time where it can feel so depressing and sad. Like, we can't give up. We have to show up. And there are lots of wonderful people, like everyone here in this room, who is also all about it. I would imagine many people are here at connecting the dots because we have a passion inside of us and we want to create change and we want to pursue justice. So if anyone has specific questions about poll working, I will be happy to stick around until the very end of this. But for now, just think about if your schedule could allow for poll working in your life. If you can, and I think we all can, find a way to make it personal to you. So thank you for listening to my spiel, and Black Lives Matter. Thank you very much.